This is Dr. Berry. For the next few minutes, I want to discuss a concept with you called if it fits your macros and why I think this is a bad strategy for long term fat loss and health optimization. Your goals for any kind of diet or way of eating should be long term sustainable fat loss and health optimization. Those should be your goals. And so I feel that IIFYM just doesn't help you with that long term, and that's a problem. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you enjoy videos that are based on health, nutrition, and optimizing both your mental and physical health, consider subscribing to this channel and click the little bell right beside the subscribe button. That way, every time I get a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first people to know. Now, let's talk about if it fits your macros. Now, there is a small subset of people for whom, if it fits your macros, works for them for weight loss. And that's typically very young, very metabolically healthy people. And so by cutting down the carbohydrate intake in their diet, even if they're still consuming junky processed carbohydrates, they will lose weight. But the problem with this is that there are several other foundations of your overall health that it doesn't really address. And so, first and foremost, we are not trying to lose weight by eating a ketogenic, low carb, carnivore diet. We're trying to lose fat. We're trying to move towards our ideal body fat percentage because that is a very, very healthy place to be. And so, if you're using the flexible dieting, if it fits your macros plan, you might lose weight, but you're not just going to lose fat. You're also going to lose muscle and perhaps even some bone density. And those are not good things. You want to keep those as much as you can. And that's why I don't like this method for weight loss. Now, let's talk about the other things that, if it fits your macros, completely ignores. And I think all these things are very, very important. First and foremost, it ignores the inflammation that could be caused by the crappy carbohydrates that would still fit into your macros. And so if you save up all your carb macros till the end of the day and then you eat 2 jelly donuts, you are going to cause a horrendous amount of inflammation, both in your gut and in the rest of your body, that shouldn't be happening, that causes damage and that can lead to health outcomes that you're not really interested in. So that's number one, is it doesn't address the inflammation that can be caused by the food, even if it's a very low carbohydrate food. Secondly, is the glycation of your red blood cells and, in fact, all the other cells of your body. When you eat a heavy sugar load, and even if it's 20 grams of carbohydrates worth of honey buns or Fruit Loop cereal, that is going to spike your blood sugar and that's going to cause you to glycate all of the cells in your body. And what that means, simply stated, is that glucose molecules are going to stick to the outsides of those cells. It's going to make the cell membranes less productive, less able to do all of the hundreds of jobs they have to do, and it can actually lead to a crippled cell that just doesn't work properly, and that cell could even die earlier than it would die otherwise. So again, glycation is not something you want, and if you're following the if it fits your macros model of weight loss, then you're going to perhaps have more glycation than you'd like to have. The next thing that's completely ignored by this way of eating is if you have a sugar addiction, if you either have it or you had it in the past and you've broken that sugar addiction with either a ketogenic or a carnivore way of eating, doing if it fits your macros is going to call back the sugar demons, and you will start to have cravings that are very hard for you to ignore and very hard to say no to. That's why I don't like this model of weight loss whatsoever. Next is number 4 is we want to be eating the most nutrient dense foods that we possibly can. Food is not just energy. Food is not just building blocks for your body, for your cells, for your mind. Food is also information. And when you eat crappy garbage, you're giving your body false information that can flip the wrong epigenetic switches, that can lead to the inflammation we talked about earlier, and that can just have disastrous consequences on your long-term health. It might lead to short-term weight loss, but it's not going to lead to long-term health. And so nutrient density, every piece of food you put in your mouth needs to be full of vitamins and minerals, needs to be full of good quality fats and proteins, and it also needs to be full of good information. And you don't get that if you're following the IIFYM model. Next is that the if it fits your macros model encourages products. It encourages keto products. It encourages low carb products. It encourages Atkins type products. And as you know, anytime you try to turn real food into a product that is shelf stable on a shelf for a year or two and that you can transport all around the world, it's no longer real food. And so the if it fits your macros model encourages fake food, food like products, and I'm not a proponent of that at all. That's why I don't recommend any food products. You need to be eating real, whole, one ingredient foods on your low carb keto carnivore diet. Next is that it encourages calorie counting because the flexible dieting model and if it fits your macros is all based on calorie counting. And it perpetuates the myth that you can actually know what your caloric needs are for a day and that you can actually calculate your caloric expenditure for a day. Both of those math problems are not simple addition, they are calculus problems. The amount of calories your body needs a day is an unknowable number. There are too many factors. It would take a supercomputer calculating that number every single day of your life, because every day of your life, you live a different life that day. Some days you're very active, some days you're not, some days you're upset, some days you're not. The if it fits your macros model is based on the premise that we can know how many calories you need a day. And that's just not a knowable number. It also is based on the false presumption that we can know how many calories you expend a day. And that is also a calculus problem and is unknowable. And so, hearkening back to the calorie in, calorie out model, move more, eat less, those things are recipes for diet and fat loss failure. And that's why another reason I don't recommend this model at all. Next is your hormones. Again, hearkening back to what I just said, your food is not only fuel and building blocks, it's information. And when you're eating crappy processed garbage because it fits your macros, then you're tweaking your hormones in the wrong direction. When you eat a whole real food keto or carnivore diet, you're actually optimizing your hormones naturally. You're not getting that benefit if you're following the if it fits your macros model. So that's 7 reasons that I don't agree with this at all. If it fits your macros, started out as part of the flexible diet, but now it's creeping into the keto, low carb, carnivore sphere. And a lot of people, it seems to make sense because it has the word macro in it. Therefore, it must be keto, but it's not. And so I don't want you to fall prey to this and mistakenly think that since it has macros in the name, that somehow it's okay for you to do this long term. If your goal is short term weight loss, which can include some muscle loss and bone density loss, then if it fits your macros, maybe something you want to do. But if you're looking for long term sustainable fat loss and health optimization, I would stay away from if it fits your macros. Now, if you're brand new to the keto, low carb, carnivore sphere, a great place to start learning on this journey is my series of videos on this channel called Keto 101. And I'm going to pop a link up either here or here. I never know where it's going to come, but you can click on that and you can watch. I think I have almost 70 videos on that series, Keto 101, and you can start to understand the basic concepts behind this way of eating and how it can literally change your life, improve your life, or even save your life. Now, if you think you know someone who needs to see this video, you can share this video in an email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. The more you share, the more you help me to help other people because so many people just don't know this information. Also, if you'd like to learn more about the lies that doctors tell patients, the medical myths that it can actually harm people's health, I have a book that's available on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon and anywhere books are sold called Lies My Doctor Told Me. I'll put a link down to it below. This is Dr. Barry. I'll see you next time.